Welcome to this Q&A. Some people ask whether Paul was a false apostle. Many people look at his epistles and believe that he taught a different doctrine from what the Messiah taught. They accuse him of teaching against the commandments or the Torah. The truth is, though, Paul never deviated from what the Messiah taught. He never taught that the commandments were abolished or unneeded. Here are a few examples from Paul showing his commitment to the Old Testament law. He says this in Acts 24, verse 14. But this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I the Elohim of my fathers, believing all things which are written in the law and in the prophets. Does this sound to you like a man who was starting a new faith based on some sort of lawless premise? We see the complete opposite is true. Paul confirmed here that he believed all things in the law and the prophets. You see, even though many accuse Paul of being antinomian or against law, the truth is very different. Now, this is not the only example we find in the Bible of this man defending the need to obey. After a long discussion on faith, he said this in Romans 3:31. Romans 3, verse 31, he says, Do we then make void the law through faith? Certainly not. Yea, we establish the law. So what does Paul say here? He confirms that even with faith, we are to establish the law. The Greek word for establish here is histemi. The Thayer's Greek Lexicon offers this definition. It says to make, firm, to fix, or to establish. Paul here confirms that he had no intention of doing away with the commandments we find in the Old Testament. Now there's one more example I want to consider. Even during his own life, Paul was accused of being antinomian or against law. Matter of fact, in Acts 21, we find there James confirming that some believed that Paul taught against the law of Moses. To show that Paul was not antinomian, James suggested that he go through what many believed was a Nazirite vow. In this passage, we find Paul agreeing to this to confirm that he was not against the law of Moses. Again, the truth is Paul did not establish a new religion based on Greco-Roman thoughts and beliefs. In his own autobiography, as found in the 3rd chapter of Philippians, he confirms that he was a Hebrew of Hebrews and zealous for the commandments. For those who are still unsatisfied with the Apostle Paul, consider this last point. Peter, in his 2nd epistle, confirms the Apostle Paul and his writings. Here's what he says there in the book of Peter. It says, in the account that the long suffering of our Master salvation, even as our beloved brother Paul also, according to the wisdom given unto him, hath written unto you, as also in all his epistles, speaking to them in them of these things, in which are some things hard to be understood, which they that are unlearned and unstable wrest, as they do also the other scriptures, unto their own destruction. Number one, Peter here compares Paul's epistles or letters to Scripture. And number two, acknowledges that some twist Paul's writings to their own destruction. So not only does Luke in the book of Acts confirm Paul's position as an apostle, but Peter does the same. For those who insist on denying the Apostle Paul, know this: you are denying part of our Father's inspired word. Well, I pray that this word has been a blessing to you, and as always, we would encourage you to prove all things and hold fast to that which is good. Until next time, may Yahweh bless you. Bye-bye.